On February 5th, 2008, I had dinner at Coburn Dining Hall with Sarah, who is now my wife. Then I walked back to the Waters Commons because I was the RA on duty.
A couple of buddies now were playing ping pong in the Commons building. I remember watching the Florida-Tennessee basketball game on TV.
Throughout the day, it had been extremely warm, unbelievably warm for a February day, even in West Tennessee.
One newscaster was saying one thing about the extent of the threat and somebody else something different. So I had stayed on campus because we were, on alert that things could change.
The tornado sirens were going off. I was thinking nothing was probably going to happen.
About 7 o'clock, I had two of my friends run into the Commons. They said, "Oh my goodness, the tornado's here, we can see it."
It was no longer, oh, nothing's gonna happen. It was something big is about to hit.
There was about 5 of us in the Commons, and we went to the door to look, because what else do college guys do when they say there's a tornado outside? You go look.
I was running, and Julie Mitchell was running beside me, and I heard her tell me, run, 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 run.
Matt Taylor and I ran toward the hallway.
So myself and 6 other guys darted into a bathroom.
And so we were running back into the Commons and barely got in.
The door swung open from the wind, and Matt ran back to close the door. So he was struggling with the door that would not shut. And just as I was about to yell, "Matt, forget the door, come back," the windows around me shattered.
The moment we got in that bathroom was when it happened. Everything went pitch black.
I fell to the ground and scrunched up my body as tightly as I could and felt the wind swirling around me.
We didn't even have time to hunker down. We were standing and we hugged each other and we were thrown into the room adjoining.
Everything began to come on top of us.
I then felt a couch that was on the other side of the room, be pulled toward me and come right to rest right next to me. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, like the couch is being pulled out by the wind, I'm gonna be pulled out as well. And then I felt what I thought was a table that had flipped over land on my back.
The next thing I knew, my body was crushed. It felt like we were just being suffocated.
It was so fast. I opened my eyes and the building had gone. There, I saw the sky.
I couldn't move. And I realized later on that what felt like a table that had landed on my back was actually a foot-thick concrete slab of the wall that had fallen on me. And the only reason it didn't crush me was because of the couch that came beside me. And so there was a wedge between the couch and the wall where I was safe.
It had fallen all around us, and it was as if God had put made a pocket with his hand. He had put his hand on that specific place where we were. And
Waters Commons is gone. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, people are trapped at Waters Commons.
Pulling up at Union University was definitely a call I will never forget.
We began to scream, began to call for help.
To say a pile of rubble, that was a massive mound. I would guess we were 20 feet under this pile of rubble trying to get to these boys that were trapped.
Students were coming out of the buildings crying, confused, dazed.
It was very obvious some of them were in shock. And as we got then in through the gates there to the actual residential section, that's where we started to realize how bad it was.
I remember Matt Kelly, my roommate, lying next to me, really I think lying on his back with a lot of stuff crushing his stomach. And as the night went on, he began throwing up.
The parents of the students who were under the rubble in the hospital, they needed to be contacted. So I remember ducking into an ambulance to make cover so we could make those calls which were really, really hard.
They began to actually order President Dockery off campus. They said, look, we have a significant disaster. We need you in a quiet place because we think we have probably 200 dead children on this campus, and you need to think about what you're going to tell their moms and their dads.
The first responders were pretty sure that one of our students was no longer breathing. And I called our president. I will never forget his response. No, there is no student who is going to die. No. Crying out to God, no. Don't let us lose a student. Please, Lord, no.
I could look up and I could see them raising Matt out from the rubble. It was a beautiful sight. And I remember yelling out to Matt. I said, Matt, don't forget about me.
And the moment when I knew that I was going to get out was I remember this light and feeling air. And I'll never forget taking my hand and really just punching it through what was above me and having one of the firefighters or EMT guys grab hold of my hand.
They got me out. They put me on a stretcher, and they would hand the stretcher. There was a line of students, and I would be handed to student to student to student who would say, Danny, we've been here the whole time. We've been praying for you. We love you.
Our first concern on every decision, beginning that night and for the next several months, was we have to care for the students.
And I remember standing on a chair in the PAC saying, you'll have a warm bed and a hot meal in the morning. And I wasn't exactly sure how that was going to happen, but I shouldn't have worried. The Jackson community came.
Over 1,000 were housed that evening. People responded, particularly from the churches. They were just amazing.
Everyone knows how great a community union is. Every faculty and staff did something.
And Union will always be a very special place, and its history will always include this key moment.
Every year on February the 5th, we reflect on the Lord's kindness and protection that night.
I have a 4-year-old daughter now, and I was telling the story of this to my daughter. And as I was telling the story, she said, Daddy, who moved the couch? And that just brought back this visual of me trying to look down onto my position in that time and imagining who moved the couch.
To see what we saw when we pulled up and know that nobody died that night was really just, it was amazing.
I know there are students who are alive today who were saved by the hand of God. There were students who were inches away.
We prayed and prayed and prayed, and God did things we could not have imagined.
That night has really made my salvation come alive. Just feeling that was like Christ's hand reaching down and just pulling me up. And so now the years and months and years after that, even up until today, has helped me know that my need for Christ is greater than I can even imagine.
I see Founders Day addresses years from now where the providence of God on February 5th, 2008 is the subject of that Founders Day address.
There are students whose lives were changed. There, I think, are people in the community whose lives were changed. I know my life was changed just by going through this and seeing the power of God in redeeming things that are broken.
I have children now, and right now my baby's too small to really understand, but I hope that one day I can tell her this story, and I'm glad that I have this experience to look back on as my Ebenezer, a story of God's kindness and provision and protection, even if the outcome had been different. But what an awesome testimony that it was the way it was.